Hello, Enriched Geometry. Either good morning or good afternoon or good night, depending on when you are viewing this. We are moving on to our second lesson, area of trapezoids, rhombi, and kites. Notes are pretty straightforward, so we will just get on to it. So, a trapezoid, if you remember, is a quadrilateral, which remember is a four-sided figure that has, I'm just going to focus this real quick, sorry guys, a four-sided figure, but only two sides are parallel. Those, remember, are your bases. The two sides that are parallel are your bases. Now the formula which you want to get down for finding the area of a trapezoid is half times your height times the sum, which means I'm going to add these together, of our bases. Just to recap a little bit here, remember your height is always perpendicular to one of your bases, so you're always looking for that right angle. If it is like a right trapezoid, sometimes one of your sides, sometimes it can look like this. And then this guy right here, this side length, would be your height. Just keep that in mind. But again, your formula, half times your height times the sum of your bases added together. And then we have the formula for area that's kind of faded. Sorry, kids. I'm going to go with it though. Of rhombi and kites. This one is also pretty straightforward. Half times your diagonals times each other. Or half the product of your diagonals, right? That's what that means. So my only thing I want to point out here is it wants this entire length. That's our diagonal 1. And here is diagonal 2, right? Half your diagonals times each other. So this is for a rhombus, and remember a rhombus is just a four-sided figure with all sides the same. And then our kite is a four-sided figure with two sides that are congruent. So get this bad boy down and then we will actually try some problems, okay? And again, at any time we're going too fast, you just pause that video. So the first problem we have here, this is indeed a trapezoid. I don't know if you need to write that down. Here is our trapezoid. I'm going to write down our formula real quick. So we are looking for the area. Half our height times our bases added together. So if I look at my picture here, here's my height. That's one of my bases. I'll call that base 2. But if I'm looking, I'm missing this base 1. Oh shoot, guys, what are we going to do? Well, lucky for us, I can draw in my height over here, right? So I know this is 4, but that still isn't going to help me find out what this is right away. But if we notice here, this right here, this triangle on the end, is indeed a right triangle because of that right angle. So I can find this missing side, and whatever that missing side is, I can subtract it from 9, and that will give me that top. So let's just do the Pythagorean theorem real quick for this right triangle. So I'm going to have 4 squared plus x squared equals 5 squared. 4 squared is 16. Plus x squared equals 25. Subtract over 16, x squared equals 9. X is 3. So now that we know this guy is 3, what's left over of our 9 if this part of it right here is 3? Well, it would be 6, right? And if this is 6, so is this top of 6. Okay, So now I have all my pieces to plug into our formula. So we said our height is 4. Our base 1 is 6. Our base 2 is 9. Simplifying half of 4 is 2. 6 plus 9 would be 15. 2 times 15 is 30. 30, and I do have units, feet squared. Perfect. Good work, team. Okay, on our next example, we have a kite. Our formula for the area of a kite is half d1 times d2. I know I'm kind of breaking it down, but that's okay. It doesn't matter which one's d1 or d2. I'm going to call this longer one d1. And then I'm going to call this smaller guy d2. And now this one's pretty straightforward. We're just going to plug in. So our d1 is 15. Our d2 is 8. Crunching that out, I can do like half of 8 is 4. 4 times 15 is 60. Or you can just type it all in your calculator. You do you, right? There we go. Beautiful. We are rocking. All right. Moving on. Now we have a rhombus, even though it doesn't tell us, but I'm going to tell you right now it's a rhombus. So, rhombus. Again, our formula, half our diagonals times each other. Now, if you look closely here, folks, I have 1 tick mark and 1 tick mark. So if this is 12, then this would be 12. So my D1 would really be 24, because 12 plus 12 is 24. Now if we do the same thing with our other pair of diagonals, 2 tick marks and 2 tick marks. So if this is 10, that bad boy is 10. So our D2 would be 10 plus 10, or 20. So now if I plug into my formula here, D1 we said was 24, D2 is 20. I can do half of 20, gives me 10. 10 times 24 is 240. And we have feet squared. There we go. And then in like our other assignment, you will have to work backwards. So this next one, our last problem here, says find the value of x if the trapezoid has an area of 177 square centimeters. So we have to work backwards to find our missing base, right? Because that's what x is representing here. So let's start with our formula. Area equals half our height times our bases added together here. We're told our area is 177, so I'm going to plug that in for A. Our height is 13, base 2 is 11, and we are looking for x. So let's plug in. So I'm going to have 177 equals half. Our height is 13. Our base 1 is x, there we go. And our base 2 is 11. So the beauty of this is we have a few different ways we can do it. But what I would probably do first is I would simplify this guy right here. That's where I would start no matter what. And then we can kind of decide where you can go from there. Half of 13 is 6.5, right? So we're going to have 6.5 x plus 11. Now from here you have 2 options. I can actually do both. So you decide which way you like to do it, but I can do both here just to show you. Because I think naturally you would like to distribute, right? So you could totally distribute, or since this means to multiply, well, to get rid of multiply by 6.5, you could just divide both sides by 6.5. So I'm going to do it both ways, and then you decide which way you want to do it in your homework, okay? I think naturally most of us want to distribute first, so I'll do that the first time. So I'm going to have 177 equals 6.5x plus 71.5. Subtract over the 71.5 and I get 105.5 equals 6.5x. Then if I divide out, x equals 16.2 centimeters. Beautiful, we did it. Okay, that's one way. The other way, if I were to divide right away, I would have, let's see here, 177 divided by 6.5. Oh, this is probably why I didn't do it this way. We have to round a little bit in this one. I'm going to go to 2 decimal places, equals x plus 11. Then I'm going to subtract over my 11. And we get x equals 16.2 centimeters. So however you want to do it, you can either distribute or divide. You get though the same. It doesn't matter. Okay, thank you for taking notes. Take a minute or two to get acquainted with the book of problems, the practice problems, and then look on the calendar because I will be on Zoom at whatever time that says on your calendar to go over questions. I think I might, if no one pops on, I think I'm just going to start doing questions and I'll record it so then I'll just post on the calendar so you can watch it, okay? I hope you're having a super day and I will talk to you soon. Stay healthy and well. Adios, folks.